Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Monday, May 9th, 2022. And a beautiful day out there. The windows are open, I hope. I hope you're outside. I hope you're watching this on your phone, on your favorite lawn chair, with your feet up and a nice beverage and just breathing it in. Hopefully you don't have, I've got a little bit of allergies going on. So I'm like, this is great. Great. Yeah. Get the point. No, it is a good night out, good week happening with the weather, and I think we've been waiting so long for one of these. The bad part is, and I just don't get it, but we're gonna drop back into the 60s after this week. So I don't know what Mother Nature has up their sleeve, but it's cruel at best. We'll take the warm weather this week and be happy with it. And we've got a great show for you as well to kick off your Monday. And we'll start with talk about Town of Madison. There's going to be a transportation meeting happening in 2 nights. It'll happen on Wednesday night. We'll get you the details here in a minute and also preview that with our transportation specialist, Andrew McFadden, will be here. And we're talking about those door-to-door salespeople. That's right. From the Better Business Bureau, warning you to what to look out for. And they're pretty much all common things, high pressure sales, too good to be true, extra materials. You want me to give you a deal? No. So we'll break all that down coming up. Tiffany will be here from the Better Business Bureau. But first, let's get into your headlines, and we'll start with construction on North Fitchburg Road. You may have noticed some of that starting today. Green pavement markings will be installed on the North Fitchburg Road and adjacent streets from May 9th through May 25th. Most closures will be partial, but Cahill, Maine will be closed on Friday, May 13th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And at High Ridge Trail, that'll be closed from 12 to 3 p.m. For more information, contact our friend Andrew McFadden, City of Fitchburg. He's our transportation engineer, and he'll have the details for you if you have any additional questions. He also has this meeting coming up, the Southdale Neighborhood Public Transportation Meeting. This meeting is going to be happening on Wednesday night, May 11th at 6 p.m. at Doxa Church. The City of Fitchburg and the Madison Metro will be hosting a public meeting concerning public transit access in the Southdale neighborhood on Wednesday, May 11th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Doxa Church, 2700 Novation Parkway in Madison here. Staff will provide background and network design process to date and potential service options available to the Southdale residents. Staff will answer questions about the service options and gather feedback from residents on the options. The meeting will also be broadcasted live right here on Fact TV. Tune in for that. Go to our website, fitchburgwi.gov. Again, any questions, contact our friend Andrew McFadden. He'll have the details for you. All right, I've got a bike ride to tell you about, and this is an interesting one here. It's the 2022 Madison Area Ride of Silence. On May 18th, the Ride of Silence can be found in 450 plus cities across the world to honor those who have been injured or killed and to raise awareness that we are here and to ask that we all share the road. Ryan Houston of Fitchburg is organizing the 2022 Madison Area Ride of Silence. Bike Fitchburg strongly encourage you to support this event, help raise the alarm about traffic violence. So happening on May 18th. You can check out the details on Bike Fitchburg's Facebook page for more information. Turning our attention to the law of the month. May law of the month is, well, as stated, share the road. It goes right hand in hand with what we just talked about for biking, right? Spring is here and Wisconsinites are getting outside to enjoy the community on their motorcycles and bicycles. With the surge in activity comes the added danger on the roads. Wisconsin State Patrol's May law of the month highlights the importance of sharing the road. Drivers should be cautious around smaller vehicles, and motorcyclists and bicyclists need to practice safe riding techniques. Motorcyclists and bicyclists are at the greatest risk of being hurt or killed in a crash. In the past 5 years, the number of fatal crashes involving motorcycles in Wisconsin has increased every year. Preliminary data shows last year 120 motorcyclists died in crashes. 9 bicyclists were killed in crashes in 2021. Under the state law, bicycles are considered a vehicle and must follow the rules of the road, including obeying traffic signals, and must use lights At night, drivers must stay at least 3 feet from a bicycle when passing. Motorcyclists must have a Class M license to operate a motorcycle. They can only ride in the same lane as another motorcycle, not a vehicle. Motorcyclists and bicyclists are encouraged to ride within their skill level and seek out training courses to learn the best safety skills. And some other quick safety things to keep in mind: share the road, look twice for other vehicles, and the use of turn signals to help everyone anticipate your movements. Watch your speed, never drive or ride impaired. Know the rules of the road, follow all traffic signals and laws. Buckle up, put the phones down, avoid distractions, and wear protective gear. As I saw in some internal story on a bike ride, you can fix your bike, but you can't fix your head. So put on that protective gear and be safe. Finally, turning our attention to a scam alert on avoiding moving scams for this National Moving Month. That's right. Everybody is going to be moving in and out of their dorms, or maybe a new apartment, maybe a new home. But I want you to stay safe when you're doing this, whether it is graduating from high school or college, starting a new job, or receiving that highly anticipated acceptance letter. May marks the beginning of the busiest time in the nation for moving, so much so that the month was designated National Moving Month in 1997, not too long ago, but there's some ways to celebrate it, good and bad. Let's take a look. BBB recommends consumers follow these guidelines. Watch out for warning signs. Be wary of those unusual requests. Get everything in writing. Contract important. Keep an inventory of your belongings and ask questions. Get some references from these moving companies. Make sure that they are legit and they're treating your stuff with care. And find out if they're insured. I think that's like a big one right there. You got to be safe when you are booking up these things. And yeah, I would say too, make sure you get that quote, because that is just so important when you're doing this. And check with a couple of different companies on quotes so you can compare and see maybe if one is significantly higher than the other one. It could be a red flag right there. For more tips on moving, cwb.org/moving. And of course, report. You've been scammed in any way from moving scams, whatever. Turn it in. bbb.org for your help. That does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we open up our Town of Madison transportation meeting. We'll preview that meeting, and a little bit later, we'll check in with BBB, talking about those door-to-door salespeople. We'll have all that coming up here on TF.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Hey, boss. Okay.
Said I'm fine.
Put me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at? Underlay, in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today for the Better Business Bureau, I have Tiffany Schultz here. Tiffany, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about door-to-door solicitors. We want to find reliable people that are out there offering services, but door-to-door just seems so old-fashioned anyways. Like, I wouldn't answer the door half of the time. I have a doorbell that I can look through a camera. So I don't even answer the door half of the time. And everybody should know that, especially my neighbors. But anyway, door-to-door soliciting, it still happens. How do you even begin to start trusting somebody for any type of door-to-door, let alone home improvement or something else?
'Tis the season for door-to-door scammers. What's old is new again. And every year when the weather gets nice, the door-to-door companies, whether it be they're legitimate or illegitimate, will come and knock on your door to try to sell you goods and services. And what typically happens is they knock on your door and they tell you that they're working with your neighbor down the road. Now, we all know that there's public access to all of your neighbors. Dane County does such a great job with that. And we can find out who our neighbors are without even knowing who our neighbors are. So what these companies do is they look at public records and they might even name off 5 of your neighbors that they're doing business with. Or you really, they want you to think they're doing business with your neighbors, but they're really not doing business with your neighbors. And they tell you that they have a great price because they have leftover materials from the job down the road. And the price is only good for today. And you need to pay for 100% of the goods and services up front. And they take your cash and they may come back and do substandard work, or they may take your cash and you never hear from them again. So be wary that door-to-door sellers are out there this time of year selling paving services, insect control, magazines, meat, roofing services, you name it.
Yeah, they're out there and they're going to get you. Let's talk about one of the big ones. And certainly there's been a lot of severe storms and storm damage across the U.S. And we never escape not having some damage done here. But after a storm, you have these flyby storm chasers that come by. That might be one that you should be prepared for, among others.
Storm chasers look at the weather across the country and they're going to come knock on your door. Maybe it's a roofing company, maybe it's a siding company, and they tell you that they're fixing storm damage in the area. They may even offer you the convenience of turning over your insurance check to them, and then they handle all the financials through your insurance company. Before you hire somebody that comes to your door, you want to do full research on that company. Make sure that they're a legitimate company. You can do that by visiting bbb.org, checking out free business profiles. You can also go and do a simple internet search. Type in the company name followed by scam, company name followed by customer review, company name followed by complaint. You're going to get a lot of information to start your research if this is somebody that you want to do business with.
Yeah, that's good. And there's some extra steps that we can do too to definitely stay ahead of this. So first off, what should we be asking if somebody does show up like this and we're like, well, is it legit? Not legit? What should we be looking for?
The first thing you can do is start a conversation with the individual. Do they have a sales permit from the area? Somebody who doesn't have a sales permit is probably going to leave fairly quickly. Check their vehicle out. What kind of vehicle are they driving? Is it a vehicle with out-of-state plates? Is it marked? Do they have a business card? Anybody can make a business card, but look for the information on the business card. So, if you're looking at a vague business card and it just has a name, a company name, and a phone number on, anybody can make that. Are they on foot? If they're on foot, they don't have a sales permit, it may be a good idea to call the police just so that they can check them out, because you don't want any of your neighbors to get stuck in a possible scam.
All right, let's talk about payments. Definitely important here, as far as you've already kind of shared about not paying up front necessarily, but tell us some ways that might be proper in paying.
The BBB always recommends that you pay in thirds. A third at the signing of the contract, a third in the middle of the job, and a third when you're finally completely satisfied with the work that the contractor has done. If you don't keep that third, the contractor has no motivation to return to your project and finish up the work that you're not satisfied with. BBB always recommends that you pay with a credit card if you can. A credit card is going to give you additional protections that other forms of payment may not. And if a contractor asks you to pay with gift card, a prepaid debit card, be very wary. It's likely a scam. Gift cards are used for untraceable forms of payment. So if anybody asks you for a gift card, as soon as you provide the information on a gift card, your money is gone. It's untraceable and it works exactly like cash.
And it's important also to get this stuff in writing. That is got to be a must when you're doing this. What would you have for recommendations as far as what we should be getting for information, like contract receipt, those sort of things?
The contract should be completed in full. There should be no blank spaces, and it should include a detailed description of the work, the start and end date, payment terms, and it should be kept by both parties. Always go ahead and keep a copy of your contract because you may have to refer to it in regards to warranties or any work that maybe isn't fully satisfied down the road.
Yeah, very important stuff. If you want to go back and find, if you're trying to you've been scammed, you need that information to kind of help you get out of potential issues there. So important. All right, Tiffany, all great information. If people want to learn more about any of these door-to-door soliciting or just tips on hiring reliable contractors, where can they find more information at?
Head on over to bbb.org.
All right, Tiffany, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, and we'll check back with you real soon.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. bbb.org. That's where it starts. Start your search there and learn more. And take your time. This is high pressure stuff here. Just take your time and ask them to come back. If they're really legit, they'll probably not come back if they are bad people. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, joined today from our Transportation, Engineering, Public Works Department. Probably in the wrong order, but he's a good guy. It's Andrew McFadden. Welcome back to the show. Long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a while. Hi, Jeremy.
It has been a while, and I'm here to I've already challenged you and got my frustrations out of everything to do with transportation. And you're the guy that gets to listen to all that, which is a good thing because you have the answers or you'll find the answers, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So what we're talking about today is the Southdale neighborhood. There's a meeting coming up on Wednesday night, and it's going to be focusing on transportation. We heard from our first our open house meeting, we heard great input on transportation. It's funny enough that this transportation redesign is happening at the same time that we're making this transition with Town of Madison to Fitchburg in this corridor. They're not related, happening at the same time, but we do want to address it because the redesign process is going to close up really soon, Andrew. So tell us where we're at today before we open up the meeting that's happening on Wednesday.
Yeah. And thanks for that clarification, Jeremy. Yep. Timing was unfortunate for this, but yeah, two totally separate efforts. So yeah, so Metro, the redesign effort kind of started early last year. They've been working on a lot of different alternatives, basically a ridership or a coverage alternative. They kind of presented that last summer. and then they released their draft plan starting this year in January. And so, the public's kind of had some time to digest that, to see different options, to talk through it at various public meetings, both held by the city of Fitchburg, by city of Madison, and then at our meeting 2 weeks ago, the town of Madison annexation. And so we've heard a lot of great feedback. There's a number of amendments both on the City of Madison Metro Transit website, the network redesign website, as well as some that we'll be talking about with council coming up here in the next month. But yeah, as far as getting in that input, so we are planning on holding that public meeting on Wednesday night to just revisit the topic, talk about some options that we have that might, basically strike a balance between the existing service that is great and has that service within the neighborhood, and a more streamlined service that would focus more on kind of the major routes and ridership, and making sure we're keeping transit commutes short, but that we're also kind of creating that balance in between those two extremes. So we have some options to present. We're looking for feedback from the neighborhood, and then we'll bring those to the Transportation and Transit Commission and the council for approval. And then really after that, those recommendations go to Metro for approval in late May, and then by council in early June. So that's kind of the process, the whole kind of get this all set up this year, so that next year, in probably June of 2023, these changes would be in effect. So we still have a while to go until the changes actually happen, but we want to make sure we're getting the right changes in now, and then Metro will have a good amount of time to plan things like how all these routes interconnect, where the bus stops are going to be, get those things moved, so everything will be very clear by the time these changes do come into effect.
So taking a little bit deeper dive now, Andrew, into the Southdale neighborhood, the service kind of runs around, I'm going to say runs around the greater part of the area. And as the new draft map laid out, it is now changing, and it doesn't go through the neighborhood as much. So tell us what we have and what they're proposing specifically in the area.
Sure, yeah, and I can definitely upload some of the kind of draft maps for some of the options, but for you to kind of post with this. But the main kind of iterations would be, certainly the existing service with the Route 16 goes on Badger Road, down into the neighborhood, on Pheasant Ridge, on Deer Valley, on Ski, and then kind of comes back up MM. So that's kind of the existing service. It is very neighborhood focused, making sure that folks don't have to walk too far. What was proposed in the base proposed map was that the new G line, which would effectively replace what the Route 16 does, going from the south transfer point over to the east transfer point. Although the transfer points would be going away with this new design, it functionally kind of serves that same area. In that formulation with the base network, it's just sticking to major roads. So really we're sticking to MM and then to Moreland, and not going into the neighborhood. So that service, certainly would be a streamlined service, be faster for folks on the bus, but it's going to lead to more walking, especially for the Southdale neighborhoods up to a half mile if you're from some of those furthest away stops with the Route 16. So some of the alternatives would be to do kind of a small loop just around Novation and the Latitude 43, just kind of to duck into the neighborhood, reducing some of the walk distance, in addition to remove the necessity to have to cross County Highway MM to get to a northbound bus. So that would definitely, that's kind of a compromise that wouldn't get all the way into the neighborhood, but would get somewhat into the neighborhood. That would add that more accessibility. Another larger loop we've been looking at would require, so that would come down Badger, then go down Pheasant Valley, and then cut over on Latitude 43. But there's a vital missing connection in there that's just right at the western terminus of Latitude 43 that doesn't connect into Deer Valley Road. So unfortunately, we can't do that in the short term, but that's definitely an option we're going to start looking into pursuing to make that capital investment to make that service possible. And then we did look at some other options, like put a full loop that would somewhat mimic the Route 16, but that would be something like 4 times the cost of the smaller loop. And so we don't, for both budget reasons and out of direction travel, we want to make sure that we're making, we're streamlining the service across Madison. We want to make sure this isn't necessarily the exception. So we have some consistency to worry about there, but that's another option that we've looked at and we've kind of started to price out, but it's not our currently recommended one. And so those are the main options that we're going to be presenting on Wednesday, and then we're going to get some feedback and bring that to, like I said, the Transportation and Transit Commission for Fitchburg, and then the council later this month.
So ultimately, to sum it up, you'll share these routes. The residents will have, you'll collect all the feedback, and then you'll take this to the Transportation Commission. So people who aren't the people newer to the neighborhood or coming to Fitchburg here, just explain that the commission. What's that commission look at, Andrew? And then the process then from there to council to adoption.
Yep. Yeah. So on Thursday, so this is a tight, we're trying to make sure we're still hearing from folks ahead of this decision making, but on this Thursday on the 12th at 6:30, the Transportation and Transit meeting occurs. So every second Thursday of every month. And, Transportation and Transit is really charged, among other things, to focus on what transit service, is proposed in Fitchburg, how those changes come about, and kind of approving those or recommending certain things. And then some of the other options, that are included in our full transit plan. So the city does have a transit plan. It was adopted in 2010. With this network redesign, we'll be updating that as well. So a lot of the other action items that go along with supporting our transit network, making sure it's accessible to as many Fitchburg residents as possible, all those kind of policies will also be being updated along with this network redesign. So it's definitely an exciting big change, and I think a lot of things to talk about. And so we'll have I'm sure a great discussion on Thursday about these amendments, the whole network redesign, and then obviously the whole plan as well.
All right, I appreciate the time, Andrew. I wish we could talk more, but we're out of time, at least for today. But that meeting, again, happening this Wednesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. at the Dock Church. We'll keep getting the information out there. Andrew, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeremy.
But we'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank Andrew McFadden from our transportation, a transportation engineer of Public Works, helping us out, previewing the meeting coming up on Wednesday in the Southdale neighborhood. Check Madison Metro's site for more information. And Tiffany Schultz from Better Business Bureau. We'll get her back here talking about some more scam prevention. She does great work. We appreciate her help on all of that. You can help us by staying connected with Fact TV. It's all right there on your screen. Enjoy this beautiful weather.